Hey, Something Analyze Math and History, and we are gonna practice conversions with the imperial and the metric systems. So, right here is a 20-gram weight. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the imperial system and the metric system and see if we can convert the two. So, in the last video, we have been reviewing the metric system. But what is the imperial system? Well, if the metric system is used all over the world, most of which of Europe, the imperial system works in America. America is still using the imperial system. And some of the measurements are volume. You use cups, pence, quarts, and ounces. With mass in the imperial system, 16 ounces is 1 pound. Then you have 1 ton. If you want to measure distance, you have inches, feet, yards, miles, and so these are the measurements in the U.S. imperial system. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the metric system and the imperial system and see how we convert the two. So here is our example problem. If a 2.7 pound weight is converted into grams, how many grams would it weigh? So wait a second. Here is the 2.7 pound weight. Get the joke? Wait a second. So what we want to do is we want to find this in how many grams it would weigh if we measured it. What can help us is we can use this sheet because it'll give us the measurements from metric to imperial and vice versa. So, before we start taking out the numbers and the math from the conversions, we have to know what we know, and we have to find out what we're trying to look for. So what we already know is the weight already weighs 2.75 pounds. So before we do the math, we have to wait a bit and find out what we know. But what we don't know is the number of grams that equal 2.75 pounds. So we're going to put that right here, 2.75. Now, on the right side of the page, we'll have to find some metric conversions that will get us from pounds all the way to grams. So let's look for a moment. Where does it say 1 pound or how many pounds? Well, we do have 1 pound and 16 ounces, but we're not trying to get to ounces, and we don't see any other conversions that equal or go with ounces, so this one won't work for us. If we look over here, we can see that what we see is right here, that circled, 453.6 grams equal 1 pound. So what we can say over here is 1 pound is going to equal 453.6 grams. So now we get to do the math. We have pounds right here, and we have to find grams. So we have to multiply that by 453.6 grams. We have to divide that by 1 pound because the 2 pounds are going to cancel out. Now we multiply with a calculator. When you do 2.75 times 453.6, you get 1,247.4 grams. So this weight would weigh 1,247.4 grams. Let's try a challenge problem. So here is our challenge problem. It's different this time. if a water bucket has 3.5 gallons, how many liters does it hold? So what we have to do is we already know that the water bucket holds 3.5 gallons. So we're going to put 3.5 down here. What we have to find out is how many liters there are. So, going to the conversion sheet, what we see here is liters right there, and here's 1 liter equals 1.057 quarts. The last digit of a measurement is a guess because you want to be as accurate as you can, but the last digit is trying to make a guess. We don't actually know if it's actually that long or actually that volume. So, if 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts and 1 quart or 1.057 quart is equal to a liter, then we can use those. We have to go from gallons to quarts, quarts to liters. So what we can say here, right here, is 1 gallon is going to equal 4 quarts. 4 quarts is 1 gallon. So 1.057 quarts is equal to 1 liter. So even though you can't directly go from one measurement to the other one, just like that weight problem we did earlier in the video, what we can do is go from one weight version or one conversion to another measurement of a conversion, then to another one, and so on. So what we did is we went to gallons, to quarts, quarts to liters. It's basically this. If you have an airline that has 2 flights, go to the city and get onto your connection flight. It's basically the same idea. So with the math part, 3.5 gallons, we have to multiply that by the first unit. Since we are multiplying by gallons, we have to put gallons on the bottom so they cancel out. So 1 gallon right here, 4 quarts. Then we have to multiply again by 1.057 quarts is equal to 1 liter. But we put quarts on the bottom because quarts on the top in the previous one. So we have to put 1.057 on the bottom one. And 1 liter on the top, indicating our answer. But now we have to solve it with a calculator. We have to do 3.5 times 4 times 1. Divide by 1, divide by 1.057. So when you do all the math, you're going to get an answer of 13.24 liters. And that is what's going to happen. And that is how many liters this water bucket holds. 3.5 gallons is equal to around 13.24 liters. So we have converted from metric to imperial and vice versa. You can definitely do that with critical thinking, logical thinking, and using the measurements what you have already to try to go from one measurement to the other to get to your answer. And that is how you can convert from imperial to metric. I hope this video has helped you. Thank you for watching Untitled Chapter's Math Industry. Like and subscribe. And for a fun fact, the reason why America is not using the metric system like Europe is because when the colonists got to America, they were using the imperial system. But in 1965 to 1980s, Europe converted to the metric system to today. But the United States was going to convert to the metric system. However, it would cost a lot of money because all the signs like 25 miles an hour as a speed limit or next exit 1 mile, you have to change all those signs on the roads. and all those measurements and reteach new kids at school these new measurements in the metric system. That would cost a lot of money. Therefore, in 1980, the United States dropped the idea, and that's why they still keep the imperial system. Even though you can convert on your math sheet easily, you can't really convert it in a country. You can, but it's going to be very, very expensive.